Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the All Round Coaching podcast. Now, in this episode, one, I'm going to be covering it on my own, and two, I wanted to go over the why, because obviously a lot of people are asked this over the time, and I've been asked it especially over the years because I've trained for so long. Like, people ask me what my why is. My auto response and my autopilot is always to say, oh, I like lifting heavy things up and putting them back down. But obviously it does run a little bit deeper than that. So I wanted to probably go into a little bit of a story, one that I've not really told people. So it does give a little bit of an insight and a little bit of glimpse into my life and obviously why I started lifting, training and doing what I do, and B, why I actually progressed into a career of actually helping people, and obviously what they could achieve as well. But if you know your why, you're more likely to succeed, have a clearer direction on where you want to go, who you want to be, and obviously what you want to do. So without further ado, I will continue and obviously go into my why, and hopefully somebody actually takes something away from this and it does help them as well. Now, for me, we're going to rewind a little bit to what does seem actually years and years ago now. Obviously, when you're in high school, the goal for me was always a smaller body. That was just a high school vibe. I was a stocky. I mean, I'm 5'2" now. I don't know if I've grown much since high school anyway. I used to play football. I was just pretty strong. I don't know if that's just genetically, I just came out strong, hench as fuck. I did get stuck at the shoulders, so sorry about that, mum. So I have always been strong, and not just strong for a girl, like just generally strong. Like I'd beat lads in arm wrestles. And I looked different to other girls, but I'd always skip PE. It was always running based. It wasn't for me. I'm not a runner. Like I'll run from my problems, I'll always say, or an ice cream van, but I just didn't enjoy running. So there was always a sick note whenever PE came up, and obviously as a coach and personal trainer, you'd think that was a little bit backwards. You'd think I'd live and breathe it even from an early age, but it wasn't actually the case. I actually joined the gym when I was I'm sure I was like 12 or 13. Obviously, your first gym, your first induction, it isn't, well, it's never great, is it? I think it was a profiles gym, which is like run by the council. So you'd have your induction, and obviously, when I'd go with my friends, they were on the running machines, and I decided to go and pick up some weights, which I actually really enjoyed. But I wasn't training necessarily for strength, I was just chasing skinny. Which annoyingly I actually achieved being skinny and in a smaller body once I left school. And I thought, do you know what? This is the best version of myself. I've achieved my goal. I've got skinny. That's what I set out to do, and I've done it. But my goal did change, and obviously why my goal changed, I'm going to actually go into in a little bit of detail and not too much nitty gritty. But I will go into that, and it'll give someone a little insight as why I changed my goal. Because I know a lot of people now do chase that smaller body, and they think a lighter number on the scales is going to make them happy, or smaller frame is going to make them happy, and it actually isn't. So obviously once achieving what was to me a skinny frame, and I was 7 stone 2, which in hindsight, obviously a scale weight doesn't mean anything, but I think I don't really do anything in stone now. I weigh about 9.5 stone now. Obviously body composition's massively different. But to me, it was 7 stone 2 of nothingness. Like, my happiness wasn't in a smaller, weaker, lighter body. Go figure. I didn't have much self-worth. I didn't have much self-esteem. And obviously, showing up to relationships with a poor relationship with yourself is never good. And then meeting someone, I'm sure it was at the age of 16, 17. A lot of this I just try and block out and forget, because some people just aren't worth a memory. But obviously the person I met at that age was 10 years older than me, which is never a great idea because you are at different stages in your life. And we absolutely were, and I just did not know how to be. I never knew what was normal in a relationship or how to even be. It was new to me. Obviously, the first serious relationship, you don't count the dating in school. But you always attract what you kind of grew up with. In some cases, I think I did just that as well, a little bit of chaos. And maybe not sometimes growing up in the best environments, but maybe that's another podcast for another day. I found myself a lovely red flag, toxic, controlling, and to me, chaos was just normal. And relationships were supposed to be hard. It's something that you worked on, which I did. Like, I'll always put work into anything that I do. Obviously, I'm not going to go straight in with every minor detail of the relationship, but he was just not a nice guy. And obviously, a small, weak body was easy to push around, easy to manipulate. And obviously, there is always a breaking point with someone. So I think, like, fast forward to when I turned 18, I decided I was done. A little bit of interference from obviously the fuzz, which is the police. I decided I didn't want to be there anymore, and I didn't want to be in that situation. I didn't want to be someone's object. I started training more seriously once I'd hit 19. And obviously going onwards, I took it a lot more serious as well. I wanted to be stronger. I wanted to build a physique that looked strong. That was my armour. Obviously, if I looked unfuckable with, no man would fuck me over again. Obviously, the ones after that have not been great, but they weren't as evil and shitty as the first guy. But for me, training was my therapy. It was my answer to life, really. It was my outlet. It came before anything. Obviously, if there was any occasions that came up, if I was asked to do anything, often I would say no. I'd put the gym first, and obviously it does make you feel good to the gym, but my answer to everything was just go to the gym and just go to train. Sometimes at detriment, because I did go at least 6-7 days and sometimes twice a day. Sometimes that was just to block things out. It was just my answer to everything. Obviously, there's a lot of benefits came with it that I didn't even care about at the time. It was just a byproduct of what made me feel good. So obviously training is good for your health. I wasn't just thinking, oh, I'm going to get healthy. I was just building that armour, building a physique that A, I was going to be proud of, and B, that was just going to look strong. And obviously when you look strong, you exude a little bit more confidence. And in my eyes, people were less likely to fuck me over. And obviously from this, why I actually continued, once I started seeing what I could do, the changes that I made and how my body felt, and obviously a smidge of confidence did come with this, which I did build more so into my late 20s, because obviously confidence was always pretty low for me. It took me a very long time to build that back up, but I didn't just stop. Like, I wanted to continue. It's never been motivation for me. I've never done something just because I was motivated, or I didn't do it when I felt like it. I didn't wait for that perfect time. For me, all the time was the right time, and I didn't want to just sit back and think, well, I'm not motivated today, I'm not going to go to the gym, I'm not going to work on myself. I built that discipline and committed to my health, myself and my well-being and my purpose over time. And obviously over time and frequency, that's how we build sustainable habits. So people just think, oh, well, they're made to do this, like they're always motivated, and it's absolutely nothing to do that. It's the frequency of which you do something that is going to build them habits, and that's how they stick. Obviously, our brains are clever, they can be rewired. This means that even habits that don't serve us can be changed. Now, I never say there's good habits and bad habits, but there's habits that serve us and there's habits that don't. So if you are unhappy with things, if you frequently do something, then you can change that, you can rewire that brain. And obviously you can show up better for yourself when you do this, because any habits that are going to have a positive impact on your life, you're more likely to stick at. Is it easy? Absolutely not. There's days that you don't want to show up for yourself, especially obviously with me, which I'll go into a little bit. Obviously I was diagnosed with depression when I went to therapy. Now, it's not a label that I live by, but it is so much harder to get yourself going sometimes. There's them days that you just want to stay in bed, you don't want to do anything, you want to hide away from the world. Obviously, it isn't productive doing that, so I would always force myself out of that. And I don't believe just because you've got a label attached to you that you should live by that label. And obviously, it'll take me on to why I coach, which is important to me as well. I wanted to impact people's lives, like that does sound cheesy. But I want to help them, and do you know what, often through shit times as well. I want to show them what they're capable of and prove investing in yourself is not only invaluable, but you'll unlock so much more of your life. And once you actually show up for you, your life just unfolds in a more positive way as well. I want to help men and women do that. I want them to feel happier, stronger, healthier, and achieve what they never thought was possible. And I will always say, if I can change at least one life, then I've done a great job. Obviously, online, I want to impact and change as many lives as I can. Helping you will always be the best feeling for me. If you can help someone, because I'm guilty of being a giver. I don't want to say a people pleaser, because I love being kind. I love doing things for people. and I love making them feel good. Obviously, a little bit selfishly, it makes me feel good as well. But that, to me, it's like you can't put a price on that. So I'll always bring out the best in someone, which obviously for me is the absolute best feeling in the world. Even though I've coached for, I'd say properly, I qualified in 2016. I've coached since 2019, and that feeling just hasn't left. Despite working with hundreds of people, I'll always make a client feel like they're the only one, and obviously their success and their journey is still an absolute buzz for me. So it's never, oh, the novelty's died off. Like, that continues for me, which I love, and I don't think you'll find that in many careers. Now, obviously, I'm lucky that my career is also my hobby, my passion, and it's unfolding my life and helped me in a lot of ways, which is what I want to do for so many clients. For me, obviously, touching on therapy post discovery of myself after years of ups and downs, and life being somewhat challenging, I'll say. Lots of trauma throughout. I had the training for my health and my physique, which is therapy in itself. I'll always say this. And obviously it's therapy in its own right, but my mindset needed work, and obviously I think you have to sometimes accept this. Lockdown 2 was my breaking point. So much felt in the balance. So for me, like, not many people know what their actual trigger is, but my trigger was losing everything I'd built. That sense of security. So for me, I like feeling secure, I like connection, and obviously often I do like communication, which I never thought I'd say. So there was a few triggers there. With lockdown, it was all isolation, it was disconnect, it was gyms closing, which was not only my career, but my output and my only thing that I had that made me feel good. I didn't want to be in so much uncertainty. Like, I hated lockdown. I still don't approve of it. I didn't approve in isolating people just being on their own, and I was just one of them. Like, it was so tough. I think lockdown 1, I actually lived with one of my friends at the time, which was like, that was invaluable support in itself, and I think that was a saving grace. Lockdown 2, I found the toughest, most difficult time, I'll say. Lockdown 3, I started to come through the other side, but lockdown 2 was a turning point for me because I decided to actually invest in myself and get therapy. And I know a lot of people put a price tag on things, and obviously therapy isn't cheap. It was 2 sessions per week, but it's never one thing that breaks you. It's a build up of multiple things, left unattended, suppressed and ignored. So hello, breakdown. And that's exactly what I did. So I had 2 sessions per week. Now it was over a good while as well, and then I dropped back to 1 session. But that was to help unpick my mind. Not fixed, because I never say we're not objects, we're not made to be fixed. We aren't broken, but if you can build something and have a little bit more self-awareness as to why, then obviously it does make that a little bit easier. But it helped me understand myself. It helped me have some self-awareness, and know why I feel a certain way, and accepting my feelings as well, and validating them, and not blocking them out, and not putting a mask on, pretending I was okay, because that's one thing I would always do. And like my therapist would point out, that is so hard, it's so draining. And obviously it's often a lonelier place pretending you're this person when you're not. And I didn't feel okay with it. I'm trying to help people's lives, and I wasn't even looking after my own at the time. You kind of feel like a little bit of a fraud. So I wanted to work on myself to show up better for everybody else and everyone around me, but I wanted the quality of my life to improve with this as well. So like clients invest in me as the coach, I'll invest back into obviously the therapy and so forth. And that it was so invaluable to me. I can't recommend it enough. It isn't for everyone. But if obviously you have got, I don't want to say issues, because I think everybody has got them. If you have got things that you've maybe blocked out in the past, or you haven't helped yourself, then I would recommend that. Despite how dark it did actually get, and I wanted to throw the towel in at many points, I did push through. It was just a turning point for me, feeling that low and that dark, thinking, right, I am done. I thought, wow. So that's when I thought I'll invest in myself, and hence why self-investment does not hold a price tag, nor does your health in my eyes, because I think we spend so much on things that don't serve us. They don't benefit us in any way, sometimes hinder us, but we never see value in the one thing that we need, and that's ourself. Our health is invaluable. You only get one body, you only get one mind, and you only get one life. It makes sense to look after it. So that's why I love, obviously, what I do. I love giving and helping people, because I know what it's like to be at the bottom. I understand so many scenarios. I've made some of the mistakes myself, that I want to guide people and in turn help them reach their goals. Is it all physical based? Absolutely not. But it is a byproduct of it, and one people, they feel amazing from it. So if I help you work on your goals to improve your health, your fitness, and get you moving, your physique's naturally going to change. And obviously, when we start to eat better, move more, we feel better from it. It has a positive effect on our brain as well. Obviously, we're releasing them endorphins when we do actually get moving, as opposed to sitting in the dark and letting our mind escape into its own little darkness, which I did at times myself. I took time to understand myself, my behaviours, and obviously this enables me to help you further. And that's what I want from my coach, and I want to be able to help people further and obviously show up better for myself and show up better for my clients as well. And I do care, so my why I actually care. I believe if you're going to do anything, do it with passion. For me, passion will always triumph talent. The sense of never giving up, even when that's the easiest option, or you feel like it's the only one. It is easy to make excuses. It is easy to just think, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm not going to go to the gym today. I'm not going to eat good. I'm not going to move. I'm not going to go out for a walk. I'm just going to sit in, watch a bit of Netflix and order a takeaway. It is so easy to do that, and it's so easy for people to fall into that trap of that being the norm and the everyday, that when we do look after ourselves, it's seen as, oh, it's a little bit obsessive, or why are you doing that, and why are you doing this, you don't need to go to the gym so much, etc. If you look after yourself, it's going to pay off. Like, your future you will thank you for that. It won't thank you for the excuses that you made and the chances that you never took. So I will back you and obviously be your biggest fan, but we do need a little bit of passion, and that's something I've carried on, not even throughout my career. I'm always told, don't lose that passion. Obviously, it is, clients see it in me, and obviously that's what I want to push on to clients as well. But not just relying on motivation. Like I said, I'll back you and I'll be your biggest fan. It is a two-way street, so I can never do the work for someone. But if you give me your time and effort, I'll always give it back and more. If you give me 100%, I'm going to give you 120%. I put a lot of time and effort into what I do, and I put a lot of care into what I do as well. I'll always say nobody is just a bill to me. There was a point where people would say, how many clients have you got? I didn't know clients by numbers, I knew them by name. And each goal and each journey was different for me. So it was never, people weren't just that person in and out. It's like, I commit to what I do. And I think that's why a lot of clients stay with me for a few years. It's not necessarily that they need me, but they do like that accountability. They like that support, and obviously that reassurance as well, because it is nice when someone's overlooking you and looking after your goals. I have a coach myself, and obviously that's taken care of for me. Someone watching you will always help you show up that little bit better, and sometimes you just need a little tough love, and some guidance throughout that, and that's what my coach will do for me, and that's what I do for my clients. So yeah, if you give me your time and effort, I'll always give that back and more, and I think a lot of my clients would agree with that. And bringing me on to why I actually continuing to invest, clients invest in me, I invest in myself. I believe that you can't excel in anything if you settle or become complacent. So my therapy, my own coach, my business mentor, my education, they're all invaluable to me, because all of them combined help me show up better to help you, and obviously help you more as well. I'll always strive to improve. It's in my nature. I don't like giving up. I like to be better. I like to improve myself, and I've always have high standards of myself to give my best to you. So hopefully you've enjoyed a snippet into my life, an insight into my why. But I'd also love to hear your why, and I'd love to help you as well. So shoot me a message. You can send it on Instagram. I'll drop my website link into Spotify. You can click on that and see a little bit what I'm about. But I'd love to have a chat, get to know you, and it would be amazing to know some of your guys' whys that actually listen to this. So let's hear your story and how I can help you. If you enjoyed this podcast, hit the like button and shoot me a message if there's any topics that you would like me to go over.